Kane, it's 1-0. We're freaking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. We're here again for another late night Leeds episode. I've just finished work, and of course, I've got the ant to my deck, the dick to my dom. It is, of course, Andrea Russo who is with us. We're gonna have to think of some more of them. Maybe like I don't know. I'm trying to think of amazing Cannon and Ball. You won't know these people. Are there any famous double acts in Italy?
No, there's just Ale France, but they're the comic act. So
there you go. Then,
yeah.
Like, who's the two? Actually, there was two Italians that came to England when Cellino was in charge and played a prank on the pitch.
Pio Medeo. Yeah,
there you go.
They're mental. They're mental.
Yeah, Pio Medeo. There you go. Someone's just said this. I love it. You won't. I don't know if you'll get this reference, but Magnet and Steel. I love that. That's great. That's what we'll call it. Now, listen, we've got a special guest with us tonight, folks. We're going to be talking about the American side of Leeds United. Obviously, we've been taken over by the 49ers. Look, news is thin on the ground. Me and Andrea will touch on the transfer stuff a little bit later on. Obviously, Rodrigo chasing the bag over in the Far East over in Qatar. Yep. We're going to talk about Gnonto and Sam Field and others, all right? But what we wanted to do, and I know Phil Hayes done a similar article, just touching on the 49ers process and what they've gone through and why it's taken so long to appoint a manager and the kind of, look, we know about them looking at AI and statistical data.
Yeah.
So Andrea has many connections and has managed to bring in a basketball scout who has connections to America that can tell us also links to some of the investors like Larry Nance and stuff. So what I'm going to do now, because obviously it's two Italian people, so like why not hand over to Andrea, who's going to welcome in Francesco. Now I'm going to switch us over. There we go. Who is a scout? Over to you, Andrea. Tell people, introduce Francesco, and then let's get into it, my man.
Yeah, Francesco. His name is Francesco Vacondio. He's an old good friend of mine because we're from the same hometown. But as many people were wondering and asking questions about the data, why the recruitment process is taking so long, why there are links to certain players, and we've seen yesterday with Loki too when we were in the pod that when he broke in the statistics about Nat Phillips, these are the kinds of situations the American like very much when they look at the data and statistics. So Francesco, we call Vax because the nickname I use since years now. For years now, I've been using that. Basically, he has many connections to America because and Europe too, of course, because he works as a basketball scout for Sportlab Network, which is one of the main European agencies in basketball. So he has to talk and work with, of course, the major players in the European and American basketball market. He talks daily with and scouts, especially American players. So he knows very well how the American ownership franchises, especially in the NBA, of course, but in the NFL too, works. So I thought, why not bring him in? So he can help us understand better what do we mean with the data. They were cited in the Philae article in the Athletic today too about Parag Marat, and they use the introduction of data in the NFL. And basically, I know he's a source of information more valuable than me in certain terms because he has an infinite knowledge when it comes to American sports and knowledge. So I spoke to Joe, and he was happy to invite him on the pod. So he of course in the chat too, you can ask him questions if you have specific interest on that, and he can help us understand better what would we mean with data and who the American investors, especially the one connected to basketball, Rudy Thomas, who is rumored to have a board, may have a role in the board, and Larry Nance and TJ McConnell who are they, of course, and because of course basketball isn't that popular in the UK. I know that.
No.
So if you want.
I didn't even know who Larry Nance was, mate, until Larry started talking about Leeds United. So, before we ask questions, Francesco, do you want to tell us a bit about what you do?
Yeah, of course. And first and foremost, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to share this time with you and be a guest in a soccer or football podcast like you guys are hosting. It's the first time, so I'm really honored for this. And about my job is pretty much to, of course, as Andrea said, scouting mainly American players, but also European ones. The major part is American there also, but some Europeans I did. Mainly on Europe, in most of the main markets in Europe, but also I do Asia, in particular Korea, Japan, a little bit of China, Australia, and also the whole South America, because I can speak Spanish and I relate directly to teams, coaches in their local language.
Oh wow, that's we've gone up a level. Multilingual JUSTJOE football show. I can only speak English, only barely as well. So I can say ciao bello. That's about it. Ciao bello.
That's fine. You can do whatever you want saying ciao bello in Italy.
yeah. I also know the fun, but I know this one.
That's too early. That's too early. Later.
Yeah. So Andrea, we touched on the article. You mentioned the Phil Hay article. Like, which bits do you want to pick out on the major bits that we want to discuss tonight?
Well, especially the data related, of course, part of it, and the one. When Phil spoke about the part on Rudy Thomas, especially because as I said, he can be one of the rumored board members when the 49ers take over. So starting with it, especially what was said, and what I would like to know is it normal in American sports that a recruitment process takes so long, especially with the coach? Because the 49ers right now have valued 20 profiles of the 20 managers that have won the championship in the past. And they have conducted interviews in London with a certain number of that. So, Vax, is it normal to take so long? And what kind of aspects do they analyze in American sports, the ownership on coaches about data in terms of the recruitment, in the American sports?
Well, I mean, if we talk about US sport, it wouldn't be so normal taking too long because every part involved in the conversation and in the recruitment process is on the same page. They have a common background in terms of like coming from data analysis, data approach. Coming into Europe, I think it's something unique that is starting to paving its way inside the European football. So I think that it takes a little bit of time, of course, because fans are not used to it, but also managers and people that are in a position to decide which will be the next manager for Leeds. They need to understand first and foremost what are the key indicators, what those key indicators are made of, and then which gains priority over something else.
Yeah.
Can we make links? I mean, I might be wrong here, but this sounds mad. I'm going to say this, but the film in it with is it Moneyball, right?
With Brad Pitt, yeah. Moneyball.
With Brad Pitt.
Moneyball. Yeah. For the Italians that are following right now, the translation is L'arte di vincere. Is a movie that talks about the former scout and GM of the Oakland Athletics and how he completely changed the approach in building a team in the Major League Baseball.
Yeah, so
that's pretty much.
Is that what we're talking about? Like a similar sort of approach?
Yeah, I mean it's not like a copy and paste, but very close.
Yeah, and actually, Phil cited that specific example, Moneyball, in the article today, because Parag Marat was going to be the next chairman of Leeds United with the 49ers. He was one of the newcomers in the NFL at the start of the millennium, and he was not seen very well by the old guard, the one scouting on the ground, because he broke the approach from baseball, from the example of Moneyball, into the NFL. So I think we can all agree that is the specific type of approach that they will use with the recruitment process of the manager, and with the recruitment process of the players too, looking at all the states and that in data. Yeah. No, we can't hear anymore.
Oh, sorry, it's me. I've muted my mics. The dogs were playing up. My apologies. What I was going to say, like, what do they mean by AI? You know, we've seen them mention AI a number of times. Like, what do they actually mean by that? Do we know?
Yeah, I mean, it's artificial intelligence, which is like a computer software that can bring you a solution if you ask any like question. Just to give you an example, right now it's gaining popularity among students, a method how to cheat during exams called ChatGPT, in which you just post the question or like the multiple choice that you have to complete in the test, and this software just sends to you a kind of a written answer if there's an open question, or just tells you the right one is A, B, or C, or D.
Yeah, and how
but you can
can
ask
that
whatever
be?
you want.
Yeah, how can that be used in a football sense? Like how, or for example, a basketball sense?
I mean, it can be used. There are starting to figure out how it can be used because it's something also unique. And there are that department that are trying to figure it out how it can be used inside sport, in basketball, in soccer. But right now, I think it's too early. I mean, the areas in which you can use this technology are too many. And the important thing right now is just to thinking about common rules all over the globe to limit the damages and the impact of this technology, because right now we are talking about sports and maybe it can be an help for sure for sports. I'm not telling is the solution to every kind of problem we have, but you have to think also outside the box, outside the sports world, that this can impact the life of the human beings.
Yeah, no, for sure. Before you know it, it'll be like Terminator out here. Do you know, what's been quite surprising for me, Francesco, is the time it's taken to appoint a manager. We haven't had it officially announced yet, but it looks like we know who they're going to appoint. Is that normal in American sports, or is that just like, would you expect a process of acquiring a new head coach, a general manager, whatever it might be, to be as long-winded as this?
Well, you have to consider first and foremost that the system of sports in America, whether it is NBA or NFL or Major League Baseball, it's a closed league. So if you have to pick a new manager, a general manager, compared to Europe, you have to pick between guys that have already experienced in the same league, or they maybe are former players. So people that have been in the same world. For example, in the NBA, it's quite common that players became assistant coaches, and then maybe when some positions are open, they starting to be in the mix for being head coach in a team. So that's different from Europe, because in the Premier League and the Championship, of course, in England, that's not a closed league. You can also trying to evaluate, for example, a manager coming from Italy, like it was. I mean, first name that comes to mind is Roberto De Zerbi in Brighton, for example. So you can bring also managers from other countries, and that's the main difference, because the possibility, the names, the volume of profiles that you have to analyze and scout, it grows exponentially, and that I think is the main reason why it's taking too long for appointing a manager.
Do do you think, Andrea, then, that because, like, normally this process might have only been between maybe a few candidates in America, because, like Francesco said, it's sort of a closed shop, but at Leeds United, or in football, I guess there's managers from all over, so they have more to analyze. Do we think, Andrea? You're on mute, pal. You done me. Wait, one sec. There. Oh, can't unmute your guest. Their mic isn't connected. It says.
You hear me now?
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. No, I agree, because you know, when you look at the fact what Vak said, I totally agree. But it's interesting what he said about the fact that in the NBA, for example, they value a certain number of profiles that have already managed in that specific league. And if you look at the 49ers, they have evaluated that specific type of approach equally in the championship, because they evaluated the managers that have won the championship. So another thing that I would like to ask is the name of Vieira. The name of Vieira came out out of the blue, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he said in the press, of course not him, but they said in the press when March was sacked that he was keen on the job. He was really interested in becoming the new Leeds manager. So it was like a candidacy. It's very common in the American sports to submit a candidacy for an open position, for a vacancy in an American franchise, and he had managed in the past with New York City FC. So I think Vieira might have submitted his candidacy and communicated his interest in taking up the job. So that's why he was in the midst. You know, he was evaluated too. So, Vax, is it common for a manager, a free agent manager, to submit a candidacy and make himself available through an interview in American sports directly to the franchise, in your opinion?
Honestly, I never seen and never heard about those cases in the US.
Okay.
It's very polite in terms of communication especially in the NBA. That's of course my league that I follow the most. And also there are rules, part of the collective bargaining agreement, that managers and players have to respect when they speak to media, in terms of when they can talk about the certain teams, how they can talk about the opponent. So if you don't respect the rules, you get fined. So pretty much the statement of the players and coaches are pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's like the permission to approach to interview a manager, like in the English game, when you have to ask for permission.
There are certain windows in which, for example, a team that is looking for a new manager can ask to the general manager of another team the possibility to interview an assistant or the head coach, and the GM has the possibility, of course, to say yes or no. Usually, after the season ends, it takes like a week, more or less, when you have the exit interviews, etc., and then started the recruitment process for the other teams that are looking for a new manager. And I don't remind, honestly, GMs saying no to interview. It's quite common that you look for assistant coaches that have been doing a good job in terms of developing young players, for example. That's one of the main criteria that GMs in the NBA look at.
Okay.
Do you know, just what I've been quite surprised about is how little news we're hearing. It seems that the 49ers, and I guess my question is to ask you is if this is normal in American sports. Is it normal to hear so little? Because in England, and you'll know yourself in Europe, in the press, they get leaked information by agents. They get leaked information from the football club, from players, to maybe engineer moves, etc. What we're finding is the 49ers, it's so quiet. We don't know what's going on. So is that normal in American sports for it to be so quiet?
Well, first and foremost, we have to split into small market teams and big market teams, because in the US, the impact of the press is different city to city, and it depends about how the team is going, of course, and how important is the market. Just to give you a glimpse, in New York, for example, even if the team, for example, the New York Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets are doing bad or doing good, it doesn't matter. The press is like a pack of wolves looking at you and trying to get information as many times as they can, or looking at what players post on social, what they do, what they don't. So it's different. If you play in a smaller market, like could be, I don't know, Milwaukee, for example, the pressure from the press is totally different. And about the 49ers, what I can tell is that San Francisco is for sure a big market, is a rich area in the US. You got the Silicon Valley next. You got big universities. And the fact that you try to not limit the communication with the press, but just to narrow and direct the information in the way the teams want to be, it's something that is quite common in the US. It's very rare that players or agents go straight to a journalist for an interview or for leaking out news.
Right. Okay.
That's what happened. What's happening right now, actually.
Yeah. Because it's we're so used to it in England, isn't it? In terms of just getting information out as soon as possible. We've had a super chat come in from Jordan Dwyer, who watches from the States. We've got quite a few American fans after the takeover, and Jesse Marsh and Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson, American professionals. He says, I'm a couple of years older than Larry Nance. Our high schools were rivals. He grew up in a suburb of Akron, Ohio, which is where LeBron is from. Just obviously, there's some names that Andrea mentioned earlier. What can you tell us about Larry Nance and the other names that have been mentioned? Andrea, what's the other guy's name? I forget.
Well, basically, of course, if you want to go through the known so far 49ers invested, of course, at the top of the structure, we have Parag Marat, then Jack York, John York, and Aguido. Colin Meader, who sits in the board of Ellen Road Limited. Then another name for sure that will be involved is Brano Perkovic from the 49ers, but related to basketball, the names are Rudy Klein-Thomas from Massive Ventures. From Massive Ventures to Andre Iguodala, who is a very well-known basketball player, Olympic champion and NBA, four-time NBA champion. TJ McCollum and Larry Nance. These are the four so far involved investors who are connected to the world of basketball right now. So, Vax, if you can explain to the audience who they are, and especially, of course, the basketball side of it for McConnell. Iguodala is really involved in business too. He's a very keen investor, not just in sport, but also in other ventures. And McConnell, of course, and especially on Klein-Thomas, a specific part, because he was an agent, right? Before.
Yeah, exactly. So all the names you mentioned about TJ McConnell, Andre Iguodala, and Larry Nance are all linked to Rudy Klein-Thomas. So let's start from Larry Nance because it came out of the chat. So let's start with him. He grew up in Akron, Ohio because his father is a former NBA player. He was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 80s. Was very famous for his dunks. Larry is famous also for being a great athlete. He's playing very well in the NBA. Right now, he's one of the best players in the supporting cast that you may get in building a team. He's a player that expanded his game and his role each and every year. He started with the Los Angeles Lakers as a second-round draft pick. He played with the late great Kobe Bryant also. That me and Andrea also know very well because he spent his childhood years in our city in Reggio Emilia.
Yeah.
So that's the first name, and he's linked to Rudy Klein-Thomas because Rudy was one of his first agents when he landed in the NBA.
Okay.
TJ McConnell is also was represented by Rudy Klein-Thomas. You
see the connection.
He's a point guard that studied at the University of Arizona.
Yeah, so it's like they're bringing them on board, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. The first and most important names in this story is the guy that really brought the name of Rudy Klein-Thomas on the NBA map as an agent, which is Andre Iguodala. He's a half Nigerian, half American basketball player that just retired last year. and a really, really good player that played also for Team USA, as Andrea said, won Olympic gold medal, was NBA most valuable player in the finals, won 4 times the championship with Golden State Warriors. That, guess what, are based right now in San Francisco. Before they were based in Oakland, which is the other city, just on the opposite side of the bridge. So Rudy Klein-Thomas came basically out of nowhere, because he was a guy that really started with an internship inside the NBA. After sending tons of letters, he was accepted with an internship in the NBA, and then he started paving his way into the basketball world. And Andre Iguodala was the first major client he had as an agent, and was one of the first players that started to think, okay, I get so much money from my NBA deals and from my sponsorship deals, where I have to invest this money. And then he started thinking about it with Rudy Klein-Thomas. When Andre Iguodala, during the free agency, moved from Denver to the Golden State Warriors, then really was the spark to me, because he landed in an environment great for the basketball culture, but also really, really crowded of investors, new technologies, and those things are really became a passion for Andre. And he started investing. The first investment that he made with Rudy Klein-Thomas was into a thing that we all discovered during the years of COVID, which is Skype. He was one of the first investors into Skype, when Skype was basically used only for university meetings, or few companies in the US were using it. And it literally had a boom during the COVID years. And still nowadays, Skype is one of the most popular platforms for video chatting, for group meetings online. So that was pretty much the picture. And Rudy Klein-Thomas, as Andrea said, is the founder of Maestri, which is the company that is headquarters in San Francisco, in which Andre Iguodala, TJ McConnell, and also Larry Nance Jr. are investing. So that's pretty much. And Maestri was too big that he started also expanding. He basically left the basketball that was going into the NFL, and was too big that they bought an agency into the NFL. They bought Ethics First, which is probably the biggest agency that you can find into the NFL. If you have a comparison into football, probably is like buying the players of right now Rafaela Pimenta, and in the past was Mino Raiola. So just to give you a comparison.
Sure, they are that big.
And
they are that
also
big.
This is not. Yeah, and this is not the first investment that they thinking about to do in soccer, because Rudy Klein-Thomas made an investment also in Plymouth. Right now, for the regulation, he has to cut ties with Plymouth just to be able to invest into Leeds United.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He invested in Plymouth and to relinquish that investment in order to take in the future the position probably at Leeds. But yeah, what he said, Vax talked about ventures. Basically, the 49ers Enterprises are an investment arm of the San Francisco 49ers, as we all know, but they are composed by various venture capitals. So there's 49ers Enterprises, then there's subsidiaries inside, like Auron Partners, which comprises Colin Mather, who is a board member in Ellen Road Limited. So he was one of the people not consulted by Rats when they tried to use Ellen Road as a collateral. Bruno Perkovic from Orm 2. I think this will be the managing people. So Parag Marath as chairman, then the other key people will be, of course, Jed York from the San Francisco 49ers, John York, his father, and his mother, Denise DeBartolo, the owners of San Francisco 49ers. Al Guido from Elevate, another venture capital, I think will have a role too. He's been to Ellen Road in the past. Colin Mather, as I said, Bruno Perkovic.
And Guido, is this the basketballer you mentioned, right?
No. Guido is actually the president of the 49ers right now.
Right, okay. My apologies.
He was at Ellen Road in the past. He has visited Ellen Road.
Okay.
And actually, I think they'll try to expand, just like Mark Won and Matt Won from Jets VP, another venture capital. They are composed by very venture capitals.
Yeah.
Inside them. So that's the type of investment we were talking about.
And Do you know what as well? I guess, Francesco, what we've seen since this, and people are admittedly saying in the chat they won't have much involvement in the day-to-day running of the football club, which I understand. But we've seen with the involvement of the golfers, obviously, that, like you say, basketball's not massive in the UK. We spoke about it, right? So, like, we've heard from the golfers. So we've heard from Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. These are also investors. We've not heard anything as such from the basketball because it's not like a huge followed sport, apart from Larry Nance on social media. But having these names linked, like, you clearly have a great working knowledge of these people and they're quite big in the game, I assume, right? Does that do big things commercially for Leeds United in the States? Does it get our name out there again? Because it's like, oh, he's linked now to Leeds United. Is that also a very good thing for Leeds?
I think yes, because first and foremost, even if you guys speak the same language, your cultures are quite close than you might think. That would be so different for an American investor to land in Italy, for example, and just thinking about, even if basketball is popular in Italy, to think about a commercial expansion using those characters in the US to promote an Italian brand. I think it's so complicated. For guys speaking the same language and quite pretty much or some similarities in the background, I think it's easier. And also you can attract investors because Premier League and Championship are lucrative leagues.
Yeah.
If you spend well the money that you have, you can earn money. And it's something that is unique in the sport landscape in all Europe. In the US, if you lose money, you shut down the team. You can go on. Try to think. If you think about Manchester City, Chelsea, Juventus, Inter, they will be all shut down by the league in the US.
Okay. Right.
You can't lose money. There's an example that Andrea knows very well. Right now, there's a team in the NBA called Oklahoma City Thunder. They were in the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have been relocated by the new owner who had his headquarters in Oklahoma City because of the arena that they had in Seattle, which is the original city, and the original name was Seattle Supersonics. The arena wasn't matching the standards that the NBA requires for hosting events and games, and the ticket selling and all the income-related activities weren't profitable. So if you don't match the criteria for being profitable in certain markets, you shut down and you move elsewhere. If the new investors or the new owners won't decide in which city, the NBA commissioner will send you a list of markets that the NBA studies as profitable or likely profitable markets in which you can pick to move.
Yeah, it's like what happened with Wimbledon.
That.
It's like what happened, Joe, with Wimbledon relocating to Milton Keynes. It's like the same thing about the basketball.
Okay. Yeah. Can you imagine that though? Like someone coming to me and saying, "Look, Joe, Leeds United aren't profitable anymore, so we're going to close it down and we're going to move it to, I don't know, Birmingham." Do you know what I mean? Like is that what we're saying? Is this what they do? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's smart.
Exactly
it's something that is not understandable in Europe. It's something not understandable because there will be rivalry literally between neighbors. So
but about the 49ers actually,
because
there will be commercial opportunities too when they take over, because right now we've seen today the news that Top won't be the sponsor from next season. So we need
Has that been confirmed?
Yeah, there was actually the fact that they were specifically saying, under the comments on Grant Smith article, he spoke with a fan from Malaysia, Top, where they sponsor of the group, and there's almost the confirmation, and not confirmed yet, of course, by the club, but they're almost certain that Top aren't confirming their support. And of course, there'll be also the fact that from 2024-5 will be you won't be permitted to have betting sponsors on the on the shirt.
That's right.
And the fact that Fulham have confirmed them as the shirt sponsor from next season, I think it's a sign that they won't be the shirt sponsor from next season. That's a sign. So probably there'll be shirt sponsorship for with the 49ers, because there were talks about it in the past. Actually, there's no shirt sponsored, of course, in the NFL. Someone asked me that today on Twitter. But if you look at the stadium, they're sponsored by Lewis right now, the stadium. So there may be share commercial opportunities right now.
Yeah, well, and no doubt there will be many. I guess just to finish up, Francesco, like, can the 49ers and the people involved that you know of, can they make a success of it? Because Leeds fans at the minute, we're all very negative because it's all too quiet. We're seeing rivals in the same division of us. I can see your locks, Leicester City, and Southampton and other teams making moves. Would you say, look, the Americans can make a success of Leeds United?
In my opinion, I think that the first and the main thing is just to trying to understand that they have a different culture in making sport, and that takes time to understand, because you can't just bring your culture and put it in a country that never had it. It's something that would be wrong to me, and also especially for the fans, that would be hard to accept. It's still hard to accept. I understand it's something that is not common, but it takes a little bit of time just to figure out everything, every aspect. And it's something that I know you guys want a result and would like to be back in the Premier League the next season. It's quite obvious. Nobody likes to lose, but just have to think about a growth process in the long run. Maybe this year is just to solidify the team, the organization, the way to work, and then planning a process in terms of growing. Maybe the first year you will be like the main horse that will win the race, we can say, but just in a second or third row. The following year, when the whole house has strong fundamentals, you will be ready. And when you will jump into the Premier League with this organization, what I can tell is that is a very good way to work. To me, it's a very good way to work. It's not the unique way to work. I'm still open to think and that other ways can lead to success, but it's a really good way. I know that patience is not the most common thing, but you have to buy somewhere or try to exercise your patience, guys, because it's something that will bring results, in my opinion.
Yeah, great stuff.
We're not a patient fan base, unfortunately.
No. I don't think any football fan base is really.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Francesco, thank you so much for giving up your time and giving us, the lowdown on, some of the American side of it. 'Cause as I said, I don't watch. The only American sport I watch is wrestling, and it's not even real. So I'm a WWE fan. So that's the only American thing I watch, and it's not even real. So there you go. But thank you very much. If people want to look into what you do, Francesco, where can we find you, my friend?
Well, I use my Instagram profile. You can follow me at f.vacondio, which is my surname. That's pretty much. I have also Twitter that I use not that often, quite to be honest. But if you follow my Instagram, I post quite daily announcements where we find players that are recruited have been announced by the agency, of course, and also by the teams.
Yeah, great stuff. I'll link that in the chat afterwards and put that in there for you. So thank you very much, Francesco. We'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening, my man, and good luck in your ventures moving forward. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time you gave me, and guys, nothing but the best. Good luck for the football season, and also good luck for the new manager search that I hope will end soon for you guys, because it's been a little bit stressful here.
Same. Thank you very much, man. I'll
Thanks,
drop
Max.
you out
Grazie,
now
Max.
and you can
Thank you.
bye. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, Max.
There we go.
There we go.
That was Vax. Or I feel like I can call him Vax now. I feel like we're friends.
Yeah, but
Lucky.
because he calls me Rooks, because my surname is Rooks and I call him Vax because Vacundio. Yeah, that's
right,
why.
Okay. I just realised I did put up muchas gracias, but that's Spanish, isn't it?
That's Spanish, yeah.
I was like, why
Es
have I put
español,
that?
es español, eso.
It's grazie, isn't it? Grazie. Yeah. So
Yeah.
brilliant. Loads in there, and thank obviously Francesco for coming and giving us the lowdown there. Let's get stuck into some Leeds United related news. Where do you want to start, mate? Should we start with Rodrigo? It's
Yeah, we can.
Rodrigo Moreno linked to
Al Rayyan.
Yeah, to Qatar. You know what's going on there?
I didn't see that coming, honestly. I didn't see that coming, and I don't think on a career note he should go there. He's just
got into the
back to the Spanish squad.
national
Yeah,
team.
exactly. It won't be a good move for him, but honestly, I would expect him to go to La Liga. He had an interest from Sevilla, you know. He was almost pretty done. It was almost a pretty done deal, but of course, if he's on good money there, he's a passionate player. I won't question his passion, of course.
No.
He's over 30, of course. He has to make career choice. He has to make career choices right now. So maybe he evaluates that opportunity edging towards the end of his career as a better opportunity. We don't know the length of the contract too right now. You know, you've seen in the past players going there before he was common and famous right now, going to Saudi Arabia, you know. When they went to finish their careers down there in the Arabian Peninsula. So, you know, Pep Guardiola actually went to Qatar. He was one of the first players going to Qatar when after he played for Brescia and Roma, he went to Qatar to finish his career. So I didn't see that coming, to be fair. And I wish he doesn't go there if he moves. He has a very low release clause, so he probably move, but rather, if you have to go to another club or go to La Liga, don't go to Qatar, mate.
Do you know what, as well, just on, I don't know if people have had a chance to read the article that Carl Robinson did. Well, he had a chat with Graham Smith, and I mean, you can tell it's sort of like bleak at the minute in terms of Leeds United news, because they're having to just bring out all these pieces, and we keep seeing a notification, then we're like, oh, another piece. It's probably the same when you see me and Andrea trying to make content again. Just before Locks goes, right, because he's been giving it big and in the chat, I invited him on tonight so we could have a conversation, because he's going mad like Leicester are amazing. I invited him on tonight, so I put him in a spliff again. But he's bottled it, but yeah, he's sat in the chat giving it big un. Like, Locks,
he's a Leicester fan. He's a Foxes fan.
Yeah, he's a Foxes fan. He thinks they're the best. Mate, he already owes me 50 quid because he said this and that. He just, honestly, he chats so much beans. He chats so much beans. He might as well work for Heinz.
I'll tell him this. Guess who made you won the league in 2016? An Italian. You owe us now.
Yeah, but look, but you're in the chat, bro. You're in the chat. But we'll talk. Listen, for me, Leicester are buying a load of no-mark Premier League players, thinking that's going to get them up. We're being a bit more smart about it, mate. But we'll see, innit? We'll see. Look, Carl Robinson did an interview with Graham Smith, and he actually said on that piece that, you know, seeing the pain that Rodrigo played in during the last few games, that he's gone up so much in his estimations. And I think for me as well, like for such a long time, I didn't rate Rodrigo. He clearly didn't work in the Bielsa system. And then in this past year, he's really endeared himself to the Leeds United fans. Even his comments when he was talking about a potential transfer, if you compare his comments with Melié's, for example, it's like chalk and cheese. He'll actually go down as a player that a lot of us liked in the end. You know, the way he celebrated his goals, etc. He used to go mad, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think he wasn't lucky too, because like you said, he didn't work well in the best assist, because he used to play him as an advanced midfielder, not as a second striker or as a lone striker. So many times he had to play not in his natural position, and that wasn't good for him in terms of positioning and adapting again, because it didn't work for him at Bolton the first time he moved to England. Adapting again to English football, because it's very different in La Liga. The rhythm is slower. They are a more technical league in some sense, but the rhythm is lower. Everyone is good with his feet, even the centre backs. But the defense are shambles in that league,
Yeah.
So I was happy when he signed, actually, because at the time he was making goals in La Liga. We're all well, we all were, and I think this season, especially seeing the commitment that he had, that was pure Leeds United in a team of players that they appear like they didn't get what Leeds United meant. In terms of commitment, playing for the shirt, there were players subbed in the second half sometimes that looked like they were lost on the pitch. They didn't even try sometimes in terms of passion of commitment. I don't pretend you scoring, banging a brace or an hat-trick, but at least try to put some physicality in the game, try to show some commitment. And Rodrigo was one of the few this season showing that every game, even when he was playing with pain, like Robinson said, because without seeing him sometimes at City too, he wasn't at his best in terms of physical form too, but he always tried to put himself on the line, and I think we have to appreciate him. If he leaves, like he probably will do, I think we should thank him, because he always played 100%. He always gave 100% for Leeds, I think, this season.
Yeah, I think for me, like for a long time, especially under Bielsa, I thought he was a waste of money. I didn't rate him, and now I have a total flip. I see him as a guy that came, he gave his all, he tried, like Jay said there, he never complained, he got on with his job, and he leaves. Like, if I seen him in the street, I would give him a big hug. Do you know what I mean? I said, Rodrigo,
surely.
100%. He's just left that. I guess left us with that, and I hope he goes and does amazing. Wherever he goes, he's coming to the end of his career. Let him go get the bag from Qatar. Go get rich, mate. It is what it is. I just want to bring this up as well for those who are maybe undecided that Leeds United might have not found their manager. Strasbourg have tonight named Patrick Vieira as their number one managerial target, which makes you believe that he's definitely not coming to Leeds United. I think we can all agree at this point that Daniel Farke is that number one shout. And hopefully we hear something. It's probably going to be early next week. I'm sick of just not having any proper pure tangible news. Look, this is to be taken with a pinch of salt, but there is a lot of noise about Crescencio Somerville at the minute. He was speaking while he was away, saying, I don't want to speak, but he was still speaking. He's then come out and done a new article that says, first 6 months at Leeds United, I hated it. I wanted to get out. And then we've heard in the last couple of hours, and this is from Team Talk. So, as I say, don't know how credible, but it says Sevilla are ready to join the hunt for Leeds United winger Crescencio Somerville as former White's director of football Victor Orta plans a raid on his old club. So it looks like we could see another. I mean, we all thought, to be fair, Rodrigo was going there, but it turns out that may be not the case now. But there is reports that maybe they're looking at
Crescencio. Yeah.
Do you think, just based on what we're hearing, I think Crescencio is going to leave Leeds United anyway, just based on what I'm hearing, his agent talking, saying he never enjoyed it. Even if he doesn't go there, it looks like he's going, right?
Yeah, it's turning into a similar situation compared to the one of Gnonto, actually, where with the agent, in the case of Gnonto, the agent is speaking and Willie is playing down, saying that he's just focused on the under-21s. He hasn't spoken yet about his future. The agent has, his agent Vigorelli. With the situation of Somerville, he said, I think when we read his recent quotes, I agree with you. It sounds like someone that wants to leave, compared to the early stages of before, actually, the Euro under-21s. There were lots of rumors of links, to Feyenoord, Everton, now Sevilla. Mm-hmm. So when a player usually gets linked with a number of clubs, of course, there's something brewing behind, especially with the agent, trying to get the name of his of the players he's assisting into the media. Usually that is the case in journalism, where a name, a specific name, comes up in a different publication in different countries, because the name of somebody has come up in Spain, in the Netherlands, in England. Yeah, I think that right now the situation of somebody will get similar to the one of Gnonto. You know, maybe we'll have his agent coming out in the news and saying that somebody will won't play in the championship. He cannot play in the championship, like the agent of Gnonto said yesterday.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm saying. There's going to be a massive overhaul at the football club for sure.
Football exchange, mate. Football exchange, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to the old days.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be wild, isn't it? I don't know if you've seen this earlier on, but apparently Leeds United hold an interest in Emmanuel Dennis. Do you think Dennis could do a job at Leeds United?
Yeah, surely he could do a job, because he was good with Watford. Then it didn't go well for him at Forest, of course, because like we said the other time, he had two different strikers ahead of him in the pecking order, with Avoni, especially when he came back from injury, and Chris Wood. So yeah, I think he'll move, but I think he'll move to continental Europe, because I think, especially for looking at his numbers of Watford, it was good. I think I don't think he will drop again back to the Championship, unless it's on big money. I think.
Do you think maybe he feels he's done his time in England now? Because it almost feels that Emmanuel Dennis is too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Premier League. And he's always in that middle ground. So he's probably going to move to Europe, do you think?
Makes total sense. Yeah, makes total sense. And I think, looking at the type of player, he can be a wanted man in League One.
Yeah.
In Ligue 1, in France, or in the Bundesliga. Because in terms of type of player, you know, there's a talk name right now is Loïs Openda from Lens, who's had a hell of a season for them. So probably they'll sell him. I think a profile they may look at, especially playing in the Champions League as a reserve, of course, maybe Dennis, because he's a similar player to him.
Yeah, no,
I think he has Circus in Ligue 1.
Yeah, and I think Jamie's got a point as well. Look, this was reported earlier on. Again, it's been given the silver rating by the lads at LUFC Fan Zone, but it looks like the noises are getting louder now about Gnonto, and I think we're all sort of coming around to the idea that potentially he will leave. I know Popey did a piece earlier on, actually, in the BBC, where he said he thinks that, or Leeds United think they can keep Tyler Adams, but the noises have got a bit louder with regards to Gnonto leaving. What do you make to this prospective transfer valuation, mate, of 15 to 20 million euros, which equates to around about 13 to 17 million in English pounds? I've seen a lot of people saying they want triple that, etc. But I think we have to have a little bit of perspective, because when you look at James Maddison, he's just gone to Tottenham for £40 million, right? Those that are expecting that for Willy Gnonto, it's not going to happen. You know, Southampton will want somewhere close between 40 to 50 for Ward-Prowse. They want big money for Lavia. For me, Gnonto's, he's nowhere near them. I don't even think he's not near the potential-wise of Lavia for me, personally. People will disagree because it's Leeds United, etc., and they'll have the Leeds tinted glasses on. But what do you think to that valuation between 30? I think 20, 25.
Exactly. 2025, I think, is the most the high we can get. If an offer comes in, you know. I don't think we'll get around 30 million pounds. Of course, I think the real value maybe around 18, 20, looking at how the market goes. But because he's an Italian international, you know, it means something. So I think you can try to play you know, agree for an higher fee, considering that, and considering that he is just at a good season, a good first season. He's still young in the Premier League, you know, like what Offenheim did with us, you know, with Rutter, paying him 35 million pounds, you know, like you said the last time, you were spot on about that. we spent 35 million pounds based on a on a potential. Exactly. Often sold as potential. I don't think we know how to sell potential, honestly. So I think the most we can get is around 25 million pounds right now.
It is going to be interesting because I think, Jamie's made a great point in the comments here about when Liverpool want 10 million for Nat Phillips, how can Gnonto possibly be 13? And I think he's bang on the money. And like you've mentioned about him being an Italian international, etc. Sometimes I try to be realistic, try see it from the club's perspective and think, right, okay, let's not expect the world here. But I am quite excited because at the minute, we know that Victor Orta's left us in a shit show with regards to the players that are on these loan situations. But we're yet to see the 49ers in the transfer market, right? And I think I'm quietly confident that they ain't going to be mugs. They're not going to be like Andrea that's willing to take reduced payment for Rafinha and Calvin Phillips because he can get it up front. Let's be honest.
Under Rodrigo, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, not you.
Me.
Let me make that. But I think, look, I want these 49ers to be like Daniel Levy. Let's be honest. There's no one in English football that operates like that man. I honestly, as much as he's tight bringing players in, if you want someone to be in your corner when you're selling a player, Daniel Levy's just that. And are you as confident as me that the 49ers will be shrewd operators?
Yeah, I think so, honestly. I think so. Probably not this window in certain points because, of course, Orta has left them in a mess with those clauses and with the relegation clauses in terms of fees and in terms of loan clauses, So they left probably this window in terms of operating like they want to because there's certain clauses and a legacy that Orta left behind, so they have to deal with that first. From next season, from the winter transfer window, they can operate freely without the tools and the obstacles that which Orta left behind. And of course, Levy is of course an owner that who operates in that sense. Another one is Bloom from Brighton. I think if you look at Cucurella, Caicedo now. When they were interested in a certain price in Brighton, he said, that is the price, you have to play that price. I won't lower it down. But the other problem with Gnonto actually is that Zurich have a consistent, we don't know the amount, but they said when in their statement, when they confirmed the sale of Gnonto to Leeds, that they held a consistent salon clause, a considerable salon clause. So, of course, if we sell him for 20, I don't think we don't get 20. That's the problem.
No, definitely.
It's all the deals that Dortmund negotiated.
Do you reckon you could be looking at 25, 30, 40% even? You just never know with Victor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the fact that we got him as little as 3.5 million, you just never know, do you? Look, let's talk.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Sam Fields, mate. We touched on him briefly yesterday when we had everyone in the house. And I think what we're going to do, what I'm going to task Andrea with, because we all know Andrea's got great football knowledge. I'm going to get Andrea to go away and put together he doesn't know this yet, so I'm telling him now, but a couple of players in each position. So what we'll do is defenders Leeds United could buy, then the next time we'll do midfielders, next time we'll do attackers, and Andrea's got a great football knowledge and has a good knowledge of the European market as well. So we'll get him to do that and we can chat about that.
I'd be happy to. I was already talking about it because the last time when after we did the keeper, we finished the keep, loan and sell. You said before finishing the stream that maybe in the future we will have done the would to buy. So I was already thinking about that. And I'll do 5 players based on the on the formation 4-2-3-1. Perfect. 5 players per position. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that, and then we can make it into a bit of a mini series. Let's do that. But while we're discussing that, talk to me about Sam Field. Obviously, he's wanted by Burnley as well. Leeds apparently plotting moves for the 25-year-old. He's in the final year of his contract. I know he did well at QPR last night as well. So, sorry, last season. I said last night. I don't know what I meant by that. But he got the player of the season.
Yeah, he got the player of the season.
Yeah. What do you reckon to that as a potential sign?
Well, I think I think looking at the type of player, I'm happy because we are lacking physicality in midfield for years now. It's been years since we had a physical tall midfielder, and I think, of course, he doesn't have the same characteristics, but it's a Sander Berge type of signing. You know, if you look at the type of player, tall, physical in midfield, able to tackle, has good vision. Of course, he's not that fast. He's not a fast player, of course. So I think we're looking for a holding midfielder, staying back during the attack, but initiating the build-up, initiating the action with his vision. Because if you see some highlights of QPR, some games of QPR from last season, he's very good with long balls, especially to the flanks. So I think they're looking to keep, if it's not him, they're looking to keep anyway a player with those characteristics, tall, who can stay back and defend. Because, of course, especially if it's Farke, the manager that will be announced, the two center midfielders, the two around the holding midfielder, usually follow the attack. So you are left open when they counter attack, and a player like him staying back, like Phillips usually stayed back. And defended. Like Adams too, for example. The Adams is different from Phillips, of course, in terms of characteristics, because he doesn't have great vision, like you said last time.
Can't pass, man. He can't
pass. Exactly. It's like Gattuso, you know. In certain terms, Adams, you know, he just goes for the tackle. He's good on the defensive end.
He Phillips, can cover ground so quick.
Exactly,
so
cover ground. You know, my English sometimes, you know, my vocabulary fades away. You know, certain nights. But I think we had Phillips during the Bielsa years, staying back, defending, and it was up sometimes by Klej coming back from the attack. But if you look at Farke's system, he usually had the two players at the back, or one and the two players in front of him, and one of them was usually tall and physical, and usually stayed a little back when they attacked, in order to be able to provide a available pass. You know, if the attack got stuck by the defensive, crowding, you know, in front of the area of the position area, you can go
like
back
a low block, like a low block,
exactly. Yeah. When they crowd the area, you know, in front of the area, and it becomes very narrow, you can go back with the two center mids. You don't have the opportunity to go to go straight forward. You have to go to, the two options are the wings, of course, the two flanks, or going back to the holding midfielder, initiating the build-up again, providing an option for them. So I think it'd be a good signing. If not him, that type of player, actually.
Yeah, someone in that mold. I just want to finish up on this, and I'm going to ask the chat as well, actually. So, folks, I am going to put a poll in the chat just while we finish up. I always forget to end the poll, but this is going to be the poll question, and I'll get Andrea's thoughts on it as well. Just one moment. Yep. So it's going to be about Tyler Adams, because Adam Pope did a little piece for the BBC earlier on. And I'm going to share that. Big up to Popey as well, and the lads that don't go to bed just yet, as well as Lewis, who's working there. Great podcast. I like it. It's nice. Little short bite size, so it's really cool.
Yeah. I usually watch his videos, his vlogs.
Lewis, brilliant. Yeah. I owe him some money, actually. Lewis, don't worry, it's coming, man. He'd be like, Joe, where's my money? For this intro. Right, okay. So I'll just bring up the piece. So there's a lot of it what we already know, but this was the most interesting bit. So he talks about Nick Hammond joining and the fact that Tyler Roberts and Alfie McCalmont have left the club. He did also say that, and I think the rhetoric's changed from Gnonto, because apparently it was Gnonto, Voba, Harrison, and
Somerville
Adams.
too.
But
And Somerville too, yeah.
yeah, it says the club hopes to keep midfielder Tyler Adams despite interest from Aston Villa. I've asked the poll, does he stay or does he leave? In your opinion, can we keep hold of Tyler Adams when clubs like Villa and the lure of playing European football under someone like Unai Emery, can we expect them to stay, or are the owners on a bit of a pipe dream thing?
Well, I think he can stay on one condition, because it was reported and rumored that he has a relegation clause as well, amounting to £30 million. I don't think a club will come and give to Leeds £30 million right now. So unless we go to the negotiation table and set for a lower fee, he can leave at that point. The player desire and will count a lot in that possible negotiation, because if a club shows interest in him and says we want to acquire and buy Tyler Adams from Leeds, but we won't pay 30 millions, of course, his will count a lot. Because if he says to Leeds, I want to leave, then Leeds, how do you keep a player against his will? Now in modern football, it's very difficult. We've seen years ago Ousmane Dembélé when he was at Borussia Dortmund, a top European club. He had a great season, and he didn't want to stay when Barca show interest in him. So Dortmund had to accept a lower fee in order to let him go, because the player didn't want to stay. Right now, the power, the real power, sometimes, a lot of time actually, isn't anymore in the hands of the club. It's in the hands of the agents pushing the player to leave. Football has changed. Years ago, loyalty and accepting a project meant a lot. You didn't see players staying for one season, even when clubs were relegated. If you go and see the squads of certain teams that were relegated to the first division or the championship, you see some top players actually in those squads, because the players used to respect the contracts back then. Then everything changed, I think, from towards the end of the new millennium, of the early years, of course, the 2000s, the first decade of the new millennium. So I think he may stay if he wishes so, of course, and if Leeds aren't willing to lower that valuation, the 30 millions of the relegation clause, because I don't think we should lower it down. But if Adams wants,
we were talking about seeing how the 49ers operate. That's going to be the first real test, right? To see whether or not they buckle on something like that. They say, if you want Adams, exercise the release clause. If you're not going to exercise it, away you go. And I come back to it. Look at Daniel Levy with Harry Kane. Look at West Ham with Declan Rice. They said, we want 100 million plus. Guess what? They got 100 million plus. So we need to see whether or not that the club can say, look, if you want him, release clause. If not, he's staying put. And I think Adams, being the player that he is, he's not going to cause a fuss. He's not going to kick up a fuss. From what I was told on the square ball walk, he likes Leeds. He loves being in Leeds. He was absolutely buzzing that they put him on the side of the stadium. You could give him the captaincy, like match day captaincy. Obviously, Cooper's still club captain, but you could say to Tyler, look, we're going to make you captain. All these things. So we'll wait and see. But I'm still, again, I'm just still not confident. I'm not too sure. The poll, 67% of people think he'll stay. So I hope they're right.
Yeah, I hope that too. We need to see his level of fitness too. Where is he standing right now after that injury? Of course, preseason starts on Sunday, so I think we'll have the answer if he's fit back again after his injury, or if he's still recovering. But to finish the answer, I think he may stay, but we've heard much rumors. Many clubs linked to him. So offers will surely come for him, but they won't be up to 30 millions. So, like you said, Joe, we need to see what Nick Hammond and the 49ers will do in terms of playing hardball or try to negotiate a fee in order to get some money for the transfer. We'll have to see, wait and see in that point.
And in Phillips asking, will it affect his international career? I don't think it will. If he does stay at Leeds United, it won't affect. They're not going to drop him. They can't afford to drop Adams. They're not in the position where they can say you're playing it. They're not like Italy, for example, who might get rid of Gnonto. They're not going to say to Adams, who's the captain, sorry, you're playing in the Championship. You're not playing for us. You know what I mean? Look at some of the quality that's in the side anyway, you know?
Yeah. And by the way, a lot of players in the US used to play in the Championship and were still club. So that won't make a difference.
No, I agree. Right, we'll finish up, mate. But before we do, it's Thursday tomorrow. Do we get any news tomorrow?
Well, in Italy, they said that. Of course, I don't think we'll get news about the takeover. Honestly,
right? Okay.
To be fair, and I think maybe I said yesterday that I wish that we had the appointment of the manager by Saturday, but right now I'm not confident on that. Because, I don't think the takeover will happen this week. I think will happen next week at this point. Hopefully, because we've seen that in the past, the EFL has taken months to avail and give the green light on other takeovers like Huddersfield or Hull or Coventry or Birmingham. So hopefully the things speed up, even the current situation. I think, honestly, that... the fact that Saturday and Sunday they won't be announcing a takeover on a weekend.
No, I can't.
So I think we'll have news on that side from next week. That's that. But from Italy, they were saying that the situation about Llorente and Christensen actually will have been defined today or tomorrow at least. So I think we'll have news about Christensen and Llorente tomorrow, probably from the Italian media.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have something to talk about, but we're coming up with ideas, trying to think of different ways to create content. I will have, obviously going into the new season, we'll have the final word and all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to bring content daily if people will watch it, and I know they will, because like I say, we're here all the time and it's doing great numbers. So thank you all for the support. Make sure you check out Andrea on Twitter as well. So watch this space for some more content coming. Like I say, Andrea's going to go away and he's going to work on 5 players in the defensive positions, 5 players in the midfield, and 5 players in wing and attack, and we'll chat about them as well. Thursday, Friday, I'm off work. I'm off Saturday, Sunday. I don't actually go back till Tuesday. So if anything happens, folks, I'll be there within the hour. So watch this space. Make sure you get notifications.
Come the hour.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Smash a like on the video. Thanks as well for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the earlier part with Francesco. It was great to have just a different voice, but from a different sport. And we will see you on the other side. It's Penn and Teller, Magnet and Steel, Dick and Dom. I'll think of some more names. But thanks as always for watching, and we'll probably see you tomorrow.